All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are taking a look at a really big deal in the world of digital defense, the NIST Cybersecurity Framework 2.0. And look, this isn't just some dry technical document. Think of it as a practical guide for pretty much any organization trying to stay safe in our super connected world.
So let's kick things off with a question that's probably on everyone's mind. Whether you're running a local coffee shop or a giant multinational bank, the threats are real, they are nonstop, and they're always changing. So seriously, where do you even begin to build a defense that actually works?
For a lot of folks, the answer is just confusion. The whole cybersecurity landscape can feel like total chaos, right? You're drowning in technical jargon, there's this endless list of scary threats, and there's no clear sign that says start here. It's a massive challenge, and that's exactly what this new framework is built to solve.
So let's put a name to this problem. We'll call it the cybersecurity chaos, because you really have to understand the mess before you can appreciate the solution. And stepping right out of that chaos is the NIST Cybersecurity Framework, or CSF for short. You can think of it as a universal translator and a strategic playbook all in one. It's not a law, it's a voluntary set of best practices, all designed to give organizations a clear, structured way to talk about, manage, and hopefully reduce their cybersecurity risks. And that brings us to the star of the show, the latest version, CSF 2.0. The big idea here, the main takeaway, is that this is no longer some niche tool for a handful of industries. It's now a universal toolkit that anyone can use. Okay, what you're seeing on the slide is actually the most important change of all. See, the old title, it specifically called out critical infrastructure. We're talking power grids, banks, that kind of thing. But CSF 2.0 just drops it. And that's a huge signal. The message is now loud and clear. This framework is for everyone. It's just as useful for your local school district or a 5-person startup as it is for a giant energy company. Because these days, cybersecurity is everybody's business.
All right, so let's pop the hood on this toolkit and see what's actually inside. What are the core pieces that make this whole thing tick? At the very heart of the framework, you'll find 6 core concepts. They're called functions. These are the high-level pillars of any good cybersecurity program. You can just think of them as the main tools in your kit. Now, the biggest update in version 2.0 is the addition of this brand new function right here, govern. And notice how it's right in the middle? That's on purpose. It's the strategic brain of the whole operation. It's what makes sure that cybersecurity isn't just some techie thing happening in a server room. Govern is what ties all your security efforts back to the company's actual business goals, its budget, and how much risk it's willing to take. It's about making sure the CEO and the IT team are speaking the same language from day one. That govern function then directs these other 5, which are all about action. And they work in a continuous loop. You identify what you have that's valuable. You protect it. You detect when something bad happens. You respond to stop the bleeding. And finally, you recover and get back to business. This whole cycle is what turns security from a one-and-done project into a living, breathing part of the organization that's always learning and getting better. And here is maybe the most important thing to remember. The framework gives you the tools, but it doesn't give you a blueprint. This quote from the preface says it all. The CSF is meant to be flexible. And that's key, because a hospital has totally different risks than an online store. The framework's ability to bend and adapt is what makes it so powerful and so useful for everyone. So how do you actually use that flexibility? Well, one of the most practical tools is something called organizational profiles. It is brilliantly simple. The current profile is just an honest look at where your cybersecurity is right now. The target profile is where you want it to be. And that gap between the two, that becomes your action plan. This is an absolute game changer for getting buy-in, because you're not just vaguely asking for more security stuff. You're showing a clear roadmap from point A to point B. And to help you measure that progress, the framework gives us tiers. Just think of them as maturity levels, or maybe skill levels for your whole security program. Are your practices kind of random and informal? That's tier 1. Have you got formal, written down policies? You're probably at tier 3. And if you're constantly learning and adapting to new threats, that's the holy grail, tier 4. It gives everyone a simple way to see where you are and a clear path to level up. Okay, so we've got the tools, we've got a game plan, we've got skill levels. Now let's talk about how this all comes together, moving from a plan on a piece of paper into real-world action. You know, when it comes right down to it,
The framework's single greatest strength might just be this: it creates a shared language. It gets everybody, from the folks in the IT department all the way up to the board of directors, talking about risk in the exact same way. It tears down those invisible walls between departments. So at the very top, you have the executive view. They're using the framework to talk about the big picture. What are our business goals? How much risk are we comfortable with? That strategic direction then flows down through the organization. In the middle, you have the managers. They're the translators. They take that high-level strategy from the execs and turn it into actual plans. They figure out what people and resources they need. They set specific targets. They're the crucial bridge between the why and the how. And that brings us to the practitioners, the people on the front lines actually implementing the security controls and watching the systems. They see what's really going on, and they feed that vital information right back up the chain. This creates this awesome feedback loop, so the company can constantly tweak its strategy based on what's happening in the real world. So let's zoom out for a minute. Beyond all the functions and tiers and profiles, why does this framework actually matter? What's the big picture? Well, it's because this is about so much more than just technology. When an organization gets this right, it's not just protecting servers. It's protecting its employees, its customers, and its entire mission. It's doing its part to build a safer, more resilient digital world for all of us. So, if you walk away with just 3 things from our talk today, make it these. Number 1, CSF 2.0 is for everyone. Number 2, it's a flexible toolkit you adapt, not a rigid checklist you just follow blindly. And number 3, its real superpower is getting everyone, from the server room to the boardroom, speaking the same language about risk.
And I'll just leave you with this one final thought. Think about your own organization, your own workplace. When it comes to cyber defense, is everyone speaking the same language? Because having that shared understanding, well, that just might be the most powerful defense you can have.